Thank you so much for having us. I'm going to just go straight into it. Brent, we love talking to each other, so we're going to talk to you in front of all of you. But one of the things that I have just found so interesting is that when you think about the metaverse and you think about virtual reality, we of course think about the immersive headsets. And I'm very fascinated by these Ray-Ban Meta glasses in terms of how they augment reality. So can you just start with the basics of what you get from a product like this?
Perfect. And it's lovely to see everybody and great to be here in LA. And so I think what I'll do is I'll just take them out. Like I might as well just show people. And so these are the case. It's very lovely. And the glasses. And we have them, I think, also outside for you to play with. And they're amazing. So what they do is they have their Wayfair sunglasses, and they have technology built right into them. And they allow you to be able to capture images and videos. They allow you to be able to speak with AI and interact with AI. And they allow you to go about your daily life and actually have kind of this technology that's present with you.
So I had a chance to try them last week. They're very fun. Everyone should go out and give it a try. I thought it was, I loved, of course, like sitting across from someone and slyly taking a picture, which we will talk about. But I also liked the fact that you can listen to music and people don't know you're listening. So you could be out walking your dog and you don't have to fumble with other activities. You can just begin listening to music and very quietly do it. And it kind of helped me focus. So it's super fun. But I also really thought about the fact that I'm getting older and my eyesight is not what it used to be. And as we age, I think that particularly now, people have such a sense of wanting to age in place and be healthy. How do you think about these glasses, not only in terms of the fact that everybody will find them fun, but ways in which they really could help people?
Yeah. So I'll admit that I just wasn't sure what the vision was with our original glasses, with Ray-Ban Stories. And I had this really transformative moment back in January where I was pulled aside by one of our engineering teams. And they had, and it was a couple different engineers. And what they had done is they'd actually taken the Ray-Ban Stories and they had hooked them up to large language models. And the team that had done this was a really amazing group of people. And so one is a woman who's an engineer who's visually impaired. The other is an engineer whose grandfather lives in a nursing home in Washington and speaks only Mandarin. His grandfather speaks only Mandarin. He moved from China and had not known kind of how to participate in this nursing home that is populated only by people who speak English. And what they had realized was that by using the glasses, you could empower really amazing things that make a difference in people's lives. And so for this one engineer, by linking up the glasses to the large language model, his grandfather was suddenly able to actually translate live. So he was wearing the glasses and it would translate for him from Mandarin to English. And his grandfather realized all of a sudden that there were exercise classes. And he started participating in those classes and feeling a much greater sense of community than he'd ever felt before. And our other engineer was able to suddenly read her mail rather than putting it through a machine reader. And she was able to go out on the street and figure out, well, is that a Starbucks or is that my doctor's office? And I will say I was actually so personally inspired by this, and Anne knows this, that I literally called, I ended up writing Mark, our CEO, and said, I want to work on this full time because the promise is so readily apparent. There's such a means by which these technologies, I think, can actually make a really powerful difference in people's lives and with many communities that are, in many ways, I think, feeling left behind today.
You know, I think that's right, which is you can imagine traveling around the world and feeling that you don't know the language. And then, of course, you imagine people who are refugees and immigrants and ways in which this could be used in really powerful ways so that people could communicate at critical times. But you also think of, you know, the relative that you might have who's older, who simply not only can't hear, but refuses to wear their hearing aids. It makes it very challenging at dinner. So, you know, I think about this just in terms of one of the ways that we try to, and as we have an aging population, you know, can you say a little bit more about the hearing and the pieces that can help?
Yeah, so I think Anne is actually talking about my mom, who loves when I take her out to dinner, but refuses to wear her hearing aids. And so we kind of sit there in silence and eat, but we don't have as lively a conversation as I wish we would. And one of the things I'm really excited about is we're working on things that allow for directional hearing, for augmented hearing, and we're really interested in feedback across this space on what we should build, what we can build. And some of what's powerful with a glasses form factor is that it's not just kind of it's not just kind of AirPods or earbuds or whatever in your ears or hearing aids that are in your ears. It allows you to actually feel more present and to do it in a way that I think is more seamless with everyday life. And so it's a really compelling use case, and I cannot wait to actually get a pair out to my mom so that maybe we can actually have a lively dialogue at dinner.
Well, I think it is exciting, but it's also, it can be scary too. And I want to just make sure that we talk about that part of it, because, you know, if you think back on the great detective shows from our childhood where people were talking into their watches and their shoes and everything else, fast forward to, you know, in recent years where there was a lot of pushback when another tech company came out with glasses because of concerns about privacy, concerns about how the data is going to be used. So can you say a little bit about how Meta is thinking about these very real questions and concerns? And I do say even just testing them out, and I slyly took a picture of my friend who was sitting across the table, you can imagine that that's kind of startling when someone doesn't know you're taking the photo. So say a little bit about how you're thinking about those issues.
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's one that we have to get right. So the only way that we're going to be able to actually have these glasses go to scale, have these technologies widely adopted, is by having people trust us and trust the use of these technologies. And so some of the things we've done, we actually have learned from the previous generation. We have enhanced what is essentially like a light that shines and actually pulses. So it's twice the size of the one that we had before, which gives you a sense, if you're a bystander, of someone is taking a photo or using the video side of it. We have built in means by which you can't tamper with with the signal. And we've also, across all of this, we now have responsible innovation principles. We have a privacy review. We're taking privacy very, very seriously on this, because the only way in which we're actually going to get these out there, and we're going to get some of these promising use cases, like the ones that Anne and I were first talking about, by finding a way to get that balance right and finding a way that people actually believe in the technology and feel comfortable with it in their everyday lives.
I want to just kind of double down on that a little bit. So I think that one of the things that, you know, you and I have spent time in our lives working in public service and government and really trying to make sure that we are moving forward with the public good. You have been spent a lot of years, over the last few years, making a very big contribution to Meta with the Oversight Board, which is a voluntary way in which both Facebook and Instagram make sure that there are guardrails in place with regard to content moderation decisions. How do you think about this, which is, if the idea is that we have to have social acceptance, we have to have trust if this product is going to work, can you say a little bit more about both the voluntary ways, I know you just mentioned a few, but other ways in which the company will really ensure that you have a robust regulatory internal process, but also, you know, as we get into these debates going forward that we're already in with relation to AI, how do you envision this product being regulated?
Yeah. So this is one that we think about a lot. And I will say on this, one of the things that is really kind of an advantage, and it may not seem like one at first, but coming from the work that we've done with Facebook, with Instagram, with WhatsApp, is we've in many ways changed and we've learned as a company on how to build. And something that we're putting into the core of that is that we can't build alone. We need to find ways to actually go out there and very proactively engage with people, with groups of people, and consult and find ways that Silicon Valley is not the only answer in what to create and what to govern, how to govern, what to regulate. And so we're very consciously finding ways from the very beginning of these technologies and these products to go out and talk to folks. And that's part of what this conference is about. That's part of what these demos are about. It's a way of getting that feedback, bringing it in, and then changing what we build so that it's inclusive and it works for everybody.
So what is your favorite part of the phone? Sorry, the glasses. What is your favorite part of using glasses and not a phone? That's what I meant to say.
Well, one of the things I'm excited about is not staring at a screen, because I'm really tired of how much time I spend staring at a screen. And even like things like I have a 2-year-old who's like incredibly fun, and then I'll be getting like work phone calls or things that try to pull me out, I think, of that moment. And so some of my favorite things with this are actually audio. And so I think it's really powerful to be able to just have this with you and be able to be in the moment and be with family, but actually to hear things and be able to not just be kind of captured into kind of taking a phone out of your pocket and trying to look at something.
And what is the thing, if you want to, at the end of the day, make sure that you want to prevent from happening? So how do we make sure that this is not used for evil?
Ooh, that's a really tough one. Well, I mean, I think one of the things, I don't know that I could pick just one, and I think that that's actually one of the lessons from so much of the last few years, is there's so many different challenges, and often they're the challenges that we don't think of. There are ways in which people come out and they find ways to abuse the products or abuse the technologies. And so I'll say on that, we actually have teams that are red teaming, trying to think through what are some of the worst cases, and how do we mitigate those? How do we build the right way in advance? And I'll close on this by saying that actually one of the things that worries me the most, and this is part of why we kind of leaned into some of the proactive side, it's actually that we will cut off our ability to build things that help people. And so if you take things like this ability to translate and you think through what the educational use cases are, or you think through what becomes possible as you start to have multimodal AI, and Ann and I were talking about this, I had started my career working on figuring out what went wrong with the BP oil spill. If you think through what if there had actually been a way with AI to actually have folks who were working, have them be able to have a check on whether or not what they were doing was safe. There's so many, I think, ways in which we can get the ledger right and actually get the positive out of these technologies, but we're only going to do that by actually finding ways to head off some of the worst cases of it.
You know, Brent, one of the things that I think is inspiring about this work and about working with you is just this ability to really make sure that you're listening, that we're actually helping people with the needs that they have. And so I want to encourage everybody to go out to the Meta table, give it a try, check out these glasses, and to be in dialogue, because I think that's what's going to make a big difference. Talking to senior communities, talking to the communities of people with disabilities, talking to folks who have an interest in making sure that they could use this product. So I'm excited to see where this goes. Grateful, Brent, for your time with me today and with all of us. So thank you so much.
Perfect. We're here to listen. Thank you.